Well, our top story tonight, the Finance Committee of Parliament has approved the e-levy. We expect the bill to be presented to the House for a final vote. So we want to take you right now to Parliament, where we are expecting the bill to be presented to the House for deliberations and a final vote. Let's listen in.
Anniversary regarding the diplomatic mission between Ghana and Mexico. Mr. Speaker, Ghana and Mexico Parliamentary Friendship Association wishes to congratulate the diplomatic relations that exist between Ghana and Mexico. Mr. Speaker, Ghana and Mexico shares rich history born out of historic experiences. Ghana obtained its independence from the United Kingdom in March 1957, becoming, of course, the first African nation to do so. Mr. Speaker, in 1960, we attained Republican status, and by 1961, in August, Mexico became the first country in Latin America to recognize and establish diplomatic relations with Ghana. Mr. Speaker, the beautiful history has it that in 1960, Mexican President Adolfo López Mateos sent a presidential delegation of goodwill to Ghana led by Special Envoy Alejandro Carrero Marco. Mr. Speaker, in 1965, Mexico officially opened its mission in Accra. Ghana followed suit by opening an embassy in Mexico City. Mr. Speaker, this made Ghana the first African country to open an embassy in Mexico. Mr. Speaker, since the establishment of bilateral diplomatic relations between the two countries, conscious efforts have been made to grow and nurture the relationship to inure to the benefit of both countries. Mr. Speaker, notwithstanding the fact that both countries closed their diplomatic missions sometime along the line, with Mexico reopening its embassy office in Accra in 2014, the resolve to continue the bilateral dialogue remain unshaken. Mr. Speaker, the two countries have been able to consistently build a steady, prosperous and constructive foundation for a strong relationship over the last 6 decades. Mr. Speaker, by June 2020, Mexico's embassy in Accra got reopened, and 20 missions and businesses made up of 6 from Mexico and 4 from Ghana to Mexico have taken place. Mr. Speaker, the two countries have over the years improved on trade contracts as well as human relations in a very tremendous way. Mr. Speaker, as the two countries reflect on the significance of these relations that existed over the past decades, the Ghana-Mexico Parliamentary Friendship Association extends its warm congratulations to the two countries for sustaining a long-standing friendship. The common historic lines that exist must continue to guide both countries to define efforts at improving on the lives of people living in both countries. Mr. Speaker, as Mexico has been declared by the World Tourism Organization, WTO, as the 8th world main tourist destination in 2016, it's equally worthy of note that Ghana continues to remain a preferred and hospitable destination for tourism in sub-Saharan Africa. Mr. Speaker, we wish to further charge both countries to explore further avenues that will strengthen the relations of both countries, increase trade, increase the benefits that accrue therefrom in the interest of their citizens. The efforts made at facilitating academic exchanges, scholarship, research, and technical collaboration will go a long way to deepen the already warm relations of the two countries. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity.
I'm most grateful, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the statement which has been very ably made by my respected colleague, the Honorable Roxanne Dafia-Mekpo. Mr. Speaker, this statement celebrates 60 years of bilateral diplomatic relations between Ghana and Mexico. We share a rich history, Mr. Speaker, as the statement has chronicled. Mexico was the first Latin American country to recognize Ghana's independence and to open diplomatic ties with Ghana which Ghana also reciprocated shortly thereafter. Unfortunately, both countries have had quite a difficult economic history in the 1970s and 1980s. And so in the 1980s, Mexico cut down on its diplomatic missions across the world. And unfortunately, Ghana was to suffer from that policy decision. We also then decided to close our mission in Mexico. But Mr. Speaker, as the statement has aptly captured, there is renewed verve and a strengthening of the bond of historical and ancestral friendship that exists between the two countries. And so, Mr. Speaker, in 2014, Mexico reopened its mission here in Accra. I observed, Mr. Speaker, that going through the program of activities for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration for the year 2022, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has quite an ambitious agenda to open 3 missions in the ensuing year. All things being equal, if they are able to raise the needed financial support, particularly from the Finance Ministry. And Mr. Speaker, it is gladdening to note that Mexico is one of those 3 countries. The other 2, Trinidad and Tobago, the third one being a Consulate General to be situated in Houston, Texas. So, Mr. Speaker, it's good to note that Ghana is also seeking to reciprocate and open its doors once again to our Mexican brothers and sisters. As we consider how to re-enter the diplomatic arena in Mexico, perhaps, Mr. Speaker, we can learn from what Mexico did when they re-established diplomatic ties in Accra. What they did was to work together as Pacific Alliance countries, and they pooled resources and established their diplomatic missions in one location. So the Pacific Alliance, made up of Mexico, Peru, Colombia, and Chile, they are within the same premises in Accra, and they are sharing resources, sharing the same reception, the same, even management services and what have you. And it's very economical, and these are perhaps the only countries that are doing this. It's quite novel, it's very, very beautiful, and it saves a lot of resources. So perhaps we can also learn from that as we consider re-establishing diplomatic ties in these dire economic situations that we find ourselves. We do not need to launch into Mexico with a full mission, a very extravagant edifice, and as it were, further incur more cost. Already we are paying about 25.7 million Ghana cedis in rent alone, because we do not own properties in the 60 missions that we have abroad, in some of the 60 missions that we have abroad. So we may want to learn from the example of the Pacific Alliance, pooling resources, perhaps within ECOWAS countries or AU countries that are already well established in Mexico. And that will really help us, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I also note that from the record, trade between Ghana and Mexico is increasing. In 2018, the trade volumes was about $16.1 million. We are shipping our cocoa and our textiles to Mexico. It appears very, very popular. They have a lot of need and interest in our cocoa products. They use it for all kinds of Mexican cuisines. And so there is really that potential, Mr. Speaker, if we are to re-establish ties. I must commend our foreign envoys, foreign ministers from the era of Foreign Minister Mumuni all the way to Foreign Minister the Honorable Shelia Yokoboche, who have kept very close touch with their counterparts, and they have had reciprocal meetings, and that goes to emphasize how solid the relations are. I also note that from the records, the former Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Honorable Oredu, represented the President at the swearing-in ceremony of President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador when he was inaugurated into office a couple of years ago. So, Mr. Speaker, the Parliamentary Friendship Association statement is very much in order. It is timely, and we can only wish Ghana and Mexico very fruitful relations. We have very historic ties with Latin Americans. The history of slave trade teaches us that a lot of our compatriots were sent to Latin America, Mexico, Brazil. So even their food, their culture, you see a lot of African flavor, particularly West African flavor, Ghanaian flavor. Don't be surprised to eat meals that look like wache, that look like sheto, that look like kenke when you travel to that part of the world. So we are really one people. We have a common heritage, and we have a common destiny, and we need to close our ranks, close our ties, and work together to advance the cause of our nations and become fully developed nations like the other parts of the North. So, Mr. Speaker, I commend the Honorable Roxin for drawing attention to this very auspicious occasion, 60 years of very successful bilateral relations between Ghana and Mexico. May we see another 60 years of strong economic ties, of total liberation, and a fair and just world that will help us attain the dreams of our forefathers. I thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. That brings us to the end of statement time. Yes, Honorable Majority Leader. Up next. Oh, did you intend to contribute to the... Oh, very well. Yes.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the statement made by the Member of Parliament for Akan constituency, the Honorable Yao Gomado, on the need for a cabotage law for the country. Mr. Speaker, in Tema today, we boast of the Maritime University that is engaged in training maritime staff across the West African coast. We also do have the shipyard, which is the biggest in West Africa for the maintenance of ships within our West African coast. And in the not too far past, we used to have the national ship line, which was the Blaster line. Mr. Speaker, these offered job opportunities for the young ones in Tema. But today, we have a sad spectacle in Tema where young men and women who are willing and able to work in both in the offshore oil and gas industry and the ship line are now struggling for employment. Mr. Speaker, I'm well aware that the cabotage law of 2017 has been hanging in this parliament for a long while. I want to call attention to this and ask the Honorable House to take steps to pass the law to ensure that the benefits that were accrued to our young ones in Ghana with the discovery of oil and gas should be taken now. It's a sad story that we continue to import foreigners to come and work in our country, jobs that ordinary Ghanaians can actually undertake. In some cases, we bring people from the Asian region to undertake painting, ordinary painting. And I believe that the shipyard, which has been in existence for a long while, with practical training, I have personally done internship at the shipyard before. And I do know we have the facility there, and people have been engaged for years and have acquired rich experience to be able to undertake some of these activities so the hard and foreign currencies will stay in our country. Mr. Speaker, I say this also because when you look at the number of vessels that are applying our coast, in our shores, in the Ghanaian waters, if we pass this law and ensure that able and willing young men who have acquired training from the Maritime University, some short courses, some 2-year courses, with all these education and training they have, they do not have the space to earn a living in our waters. May I urge this House to speedily look at the cabotage law of 2017 and pass so that the numerous youths in Tema, especially Tema East, who are looking for jobs, would also find space in the oil and gas, as well as the trawling and other industrial fisheries within the West African coastline. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity.
Very well. That brings us to the end of statement time. Yes, Honorable Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, at the commencement of public business, and then page 40, motion 52. Page 40, motion 52. And Mr. Speaker, with your leave, if the Deputy Minister for Finance.
Yes, Honorable Deputy Leader. Honorable Deputy Leader for the minority. Do you have any objection to the application?
Mr. Speaker, we are waiting for the e-levy report. And what is referring to motion 52 is about the third reading. Okay, we can allow third reading because it's just bowing down. So we can allow third reading. Then we can go for the e-levy.
Very well. Honorable members, motion numbered 52 on today's order paper at page 40. Honorable Deputy Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that the Penalty and Interest Waiver Amendment Bill 2021 be now read the third time. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Yes. Honorable Jeffrey.
Speaker, I rise to second the motion moved.
Members, the motion has been moved and seconded. All in favor of the House adopting the motion, say aye. All against, say no. Ayes have it. The motion is carried.
I'm asked to extend the period for application for a waiver of penalty and interest on accumulated tax arrears up to 31st December 2021 for persons who make arrangements with the Ghana Revenue Authority for payments of the principal tax to 31st March 2022 and to provide for related matters.
The Penalty and Interest Waiver Amendment Bill 2021 is now read the third time and passed. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, same page 40, motion 53. Item 53.
Very well. Item 53. Income Tax Amendment Bill.
And Mr. Speaker, with your leave, if the Deputy Minister for Finance could do that.
Yes, Honorable Deputy Minister.
Mr. Speaker.
The second Deputy Speaker to take the chair.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that the Income Tax Amendment number 2 bill be now read a second time. Mr. Speaker, the object of the bill is to review the rates of income tax for individuals, reduce the withholding tax rate for sale of unprocessed gold by small-scale miners from 3% to 1.5%, increase the threshold of the presumptive tax on turnover under the modified taxation scheme from 200,000 Ghana cedis to 500,000 Ghana cedis, and extend the coronavirus COVID-19 concessions granted for further 6 months in 2022. Mr. Speaker, the withholding tax on the sale of unprocessed minerals is estimated to generate 34 million Ghana cedis in 2020, while the presumptive tax is expected to generate approximately 86 million Ghana cedis. The concessions are estimated to cost 27,600,000 Ghana cedis. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Yes. Who is seconding it?
Speaker, I rise to second the motion moved.
Is here. Honourable members, the question is, as many as are in favor, say aye. Those against, say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. The motion is hereby adopted.
Income Tax Act 2015 Act 896 to review the rates of income tax for individuals, to reduce the withholding tax rate for sale of unprocessed gold by small-scale miners, to increase the threshold for an individual to whom the presumptive tax under the modified taxation scheme applies, to extend the COVID-19 concessions granted in 2021 for further 6 months in 2022, and to provide for related matters.
Honourable members, the Income Tax Amendment Bill number 2 is duly read the third time. The second time, yes, Honourable.
Mr. Speaker, the motion was moved and seconded. And you said it was as. No, it is moved and seconded. We should debate. We have not. That is what I want to draw his attention to. It's for consideration, yes.
Honourable members, let him come back. It's now for the consideration of the House. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, we are handicapped. We don't have the report, so we can't debate the motion. We don't have the report, so we can't debate. I don't have the report. I've been calling for a report. I've been calling for a report. Do you have the report? Let me see your report. Let me see the report. That is not the report. You are showing a different report. Leader, the report, that one is what we have just approved. You are showing a different report. That is not the report.
Mr. Speaker, with respect, so that my colleague does not give any wrong impression, this report was distributed last week. Yeah. The fact that you don't have it here doesn't mean that it's not been distributed. It's been distributed last week. Everyone has it.
The chairman of the committee, may I hear you?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I understand the report, the motion has been seconded, but with your leave, I'd like to present the committee's report. Yes.
Very well. So you may present the committee's report.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your committee, after the referral was made, met with officials from the Ministry of Finance and GRA, and we have put together this report, which I request the Hansa Department to capture in full, whilst I take the highlights. The purpose of the bill, Mr. Speaker, as stated under paragraph 4 of your committee's report, the observations of the committee captured under paragraph 6. The committee did have proposed some amendments which we will put forward during the consideration stage. But in conclusion, the Speaker, having thoroughly examined the bill, is convinced that the proposed amendments are necessary to, among others, relieve tax burden on income earners at the lower band, reduce the withholding tax rate on the sale of unprocessed goods to reduce smuggling, and then increase the threshold for the presumptive tax on turnover under the modified taxation scheme to 500,000 Ghana cedis so as to expand the net, and finally extend the COVID-19 concessions granted in 2021 for a further 6 months in 2022 to give further relief to the industry. We therefore urge the House to approve this bill and to let it become law. Respectfully submitted, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Ranking Member.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to also contribute to the motion that was moved by the Minister responsible for Finance. Mr. Speaker, in doing so, let me say that I was amazed to know that the presumptive tax, as introduced by the Income Tax Act 2015, had never been implemented. Mr. Speaker, at the committee we were informed that since 2015, the presumptive tax that is meant to give the ordinary Ghanaian engaging in petty trading the opportunity to pay a tax at a reduced rate of 6% has not been implemented. We were subsequently informed that they intend to increase the threshold in line with inflation and to implement it. Mr. Speaker, this is one of the steps that I believe that it will help encourage the ordinary Ghanaian to contribute their widow's mite towards national development, to the extent that they are not paying full extent of corporate income tax or income tax. They have been advised to pay the presumptive tax rate of 6%, which I believe is a step in the right direction. Mr. Speaker, it is not a new law. It is something that already exists back since 2015. What they seek to do here is to adjust the threshold in line with inflation since 2015 and to implement the policy. Mr. Speaker, with this view.
And government therefore had to consult the Association of Small-Scale Miners to monitor the collection of the withholding tax. Mr. Speaker, I think this is a laudable achievement on government to stem that tide, and I add my voice to this report and ask you to support the motion. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Deputy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I like to support the motion and want to touch on page 4, page 6 and 7 of the report. Mr. Speaker, the impact of this bill will have a net effect of reducing revenue to government by a little over 100 million Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, the review of the personal income tax rates will reduce revenue to the tune of 220 million, but withholding tax and unprocessed mineral free will also contribute about 34 million. The presumptive tax, 86 million. So the net effect is 100 million Ghana cedis. So when you come to page 7, the committee says that the minister explained to the committee that the expected revenue shortfall, which is driven solely by the reduction in the personal income taxes, will be set off by the ongoing exercise to expand and widen the tax net. So the report should have at least indicate how much the minister is expecting from the exercise that will widen and expand the tax net. Then we can then conveniently know that the shortfall of 100 million can be set off by that exercise. And Mr. Speaker, about 9 million Ghanaians are expected to pay direct taxes to government. And so far, according to the minister, about 2.4 million or 2.8 million are paying taxes to government, which means that more than 6 million Ghanaians are not paying taxes. The taxes here is the direct taxes. They are earning income, but they are not paying taxes. So if the Minister of Finance should focus more on how these people who are earning income can also be paid tax to government, the kind of money the government will raise will be sufficient. If 2.4 million Ghanaians are paying direct taxes, and if you look into the budget, the direct taxes or the tax on income will contribute to more than 20 billion Ghana cedis. If 2.4 million Ghanaians are paying that tax, how much will additional 6 million Ghanaians will pay? Which means that double the amount from direct taxes can be realized from this tax income earning. So the effort should rather be made towards how these people who are earning income can also be brought into the tax net. It's very important. It means that over 6 million Ghanaians are earning income and they are not paying anything to government. They are earning income. I'm talking about direct taxes. Direct tax is charged on income, either from business, from investment, or from employment. So, if the Minister of Finance can focus on targeting these 6 million Ghanaians, we can reap in more revenue to government. So the issue of e-levy will not even come at all. Mr. Speaker, this is the point. E-levy will not come at all. But to go and be taxing and re-taxing the same people, that would be the laziest way of collecting revenue for government. Mr. Speaker, the Minister of Finance should direct his effort and energy towards how these 6 million Ghanaians who are earning income and they're not paying taxes can also pay tax to government. Mr. Speaker, with this statement, I believe that we can get more revenue for government if we concentrate more on people who earn income and but do not pay tax to the government. Thank you very much.
Honourable members, at the conclusion of the debate, the question is as many as are in favour of the motion listed at 53 in today's order paper. Say aye. Those against the motion say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. The motion is adopted. So we move to item number 54.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, with your leave, if the Deputy Minister for Finance would.
But the Minister himself is here. Very well.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that, notwithstanding the provisions of Standing Order 1281, which require that when a bill has been read...
Honorable Deputy Minister, hold on. Hold on, please. Yes, Honorable Deputy Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we always allow the deputies to move motions and do business on behalf of the minister if the ministers are not present in the chamber. Mr. Speaker, we have the finance minister here, and the deputy minister is moving the motion. We even have the minister of state and the minister of finance. Mr. Speaker, we should not allow this thing to happen. The minister is here, so let's allow the minister to do his business.
Yes, Majority Leader to come to you.
Mr. Speaker, yes, indeed, the minister is here. We're having some other discussion on a very serious matter. However, Mr. Speaker, my difficulty in this house is this. The deputy minority leader rises up to make a point. The house is listening to him in silence. Why is it that whenever a leader from the majority side rises up, we don't want to give the person a hearing? Where from that? Where from that? Mr. Speaker, in any event, this is a mere procedural motion that the deputy minister is making. Thereafter, when we come to the bigger picture, the minister is here. What is this?
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, the point is that 54 has already been moved and seconded. At the time it was seconded, I was not here. So I came and presented the committee's report, and Honorable Atufo saying also made contributions to that motion. Where we are left now is a consideration of the bill.
Honorable Deputy Minister, you may move the procedural motion, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that notwithstanding the provisions of Standing Order 1281, which require that when a bill has been read a second time, it shall pass through a consideration stage, which shall not be taken until at least 48 hours have elapsed. The consideration stage of the Income Tax Amendment Number 2 Bill 2021 may be taken today. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, the motion has been moved. Any seconder? Yes, Honourable.
Mr. Rice to second the motion.
Honourable members, there is procedural motion. The question is, as many as are in favour of the motion, say aye. Those against the motion, say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. The motion is adopted. Move to income tax amendment at the consideration stage. Honourable members, cross one.
Third schedule of Act 870 amended.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. The committee has these amendments. Clause 1, amendment proposed. Head note, delete 870 and insert 896. Mr. Speaker, this amendment has become necessary to correct a typographical error. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, the amendments as proposed stands part of the bill. The question is, as many as are in favour, say aye. Those against, say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. The amendment stands as part of the bill. We move to clause 2.
Second schedule of Act 896 amended.
Clause 2, amendment proposed. Head note, delete 870 and insert 896 for the same reason, Mr. Speaker. I so propose.
Honourable members, the amendment proposed stands as part of the bill. Honourable members, those in favour of the amendment say aye. Those against say no. Honourable members, the amendment stands as part of the bill. Clause 2 is therefore part of the bill. We move to III, long title. The chairman.
An act to amend the Income Tax Act 2015, Act 896, to review the rates of income tax for individuals, to reduce the withholding tax rate for sale of unprocessed gold and small-scale miners, to increase the threshold for an individual to whom the presumptive tax under the modified taxation scheme applies, to extend the COVID-19 concessions granted in 2021 for further 6 months in 2022, and to provide for related matters.
Yes, the chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, long title, amendment proposed. Line 2, delete individuals with a comma and insert individuals with a semicolon. And in line 3, delete minors with a comma and insert minors with a semicolon. And further, in line 4, delete applies with a comma and insert applies with a semicolon. Mr. Speaker, the point of these amendments, as was advised by the drafters, is to make the reading of it easier and comprehension easier. I so propose, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, the amendment proposed on the long title stand part of the bill. All those in favour of the amendment say aye. Those against say no. Honourable, the ayes have it. The long title as proposed stands part of the bill. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, on page 41, 56. And with your leave, if the Deputy Minister. Page 41, item 56. And with your leave, if the Deputy Minister for Finance.
I'm coming. Honourable Member, you've come to the end of the consideration stage, please. So, Honourable Member, let me invite you to page number 41, item number 56. Motion. Minister for Finance.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that notwithstanding the provisions of Standing Order 131(1), which require that when a bill has passed through the consideration stage, the third reading thereof shall not be taken until at least 24 hours have elapsed, the motion for the third reading of the Income Tax Amendment number 2 Bill 2021 may be moved to today. I beg to move, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. Yeah, any seconder?
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
Honourable members, the motion has been moved and it has been seconded. It is for the consideration of the House. Of course, this is a procedural motion, and the question is, as many as are in favour of the motion, say aye. Aye. Those against the motion, say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. The motion is adopted.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that the Income Tax Amendment number 2, Bill 2021, be now read the third time. I so move. Thank you.
Seconded, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, the motion has been moved and the motion has been seconded. It is for the consideration of the House. I'll put the question, and the question is as many as are in favor. Say aye. Aye. Those against say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it.
An act to amend the Income Tax Act 2015, Act 896, to review the rates of income tax for individuals, to reduce the withholding tax rate for sale of unprocessed gold by small-scale miners, to increase the threshold for an individual to whom the presumptive tax under the modified taxation scheme applies, to extend the COVID-19 concessions granted in 2021 for further 6 months in 2022, and to provide for related matters.
Honourable members, the Income Tax Amendment Bill 2021 duly read the third time and pass. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, if I may take you back to item 6, presentation of papers on page 5, EI.
Come again?
EI on page 5.
Honourable members, let me invite you to page number 5, item number E, presentation of papers I, the chairman.
Report of the Finance Committee on the Electronic Transfer Levy Bill 2021.
Honourable members, the report is duly presented. It is referred to the committee. Oh, this committee's report. So it's for distribution to honourable members, please.
Mr. Speaker, if I might take you to page 41, item 58.
And I seek his leave for the Deputy Minister to move.
And with your leave, if the Deputy Minister for Finance could move.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that the Value-Added Amendment Bill 2021 be now read a second time. Mr. Speaker, the object of the bill is to amend the Value-Added Tax 2013, Act 870, to review the Value-Added Tax flat rate scheme, to limit the application of the flat rate to retailers of an annual turnover not exceeding 500,000 Ghana cedis, and extend the zero-rate value-added tax on African textile prints for textile manufacturers by a period of 2 years. Mr. Speaker, the review of the value-added tax rate is estimated to generate additional revenue of 1,018 Ghana cedis, while the relief for local textile manufacturers is estimated at 195 million Ghana cedis. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. Yes, Honourable Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to second the motion and in the process present your committee's report. Mr. Speaker, we met with officials from the Ministry of Finance to look at the Value-Added Tax Amendment Bill 2021. The update of the bill, as rightly captured by the proponents, indicated under paragraph 3, the observations of the committee under paragraph 5, the expected benefit under paragraph 5.3. And so in conclusion, Mr. Speaker, after a careful consideration, the committee is of the view that the bill is in the right direction as it addresses the issue of inequalities and domestic producers of local substitutes face, as well as assisting the garment sector to grow and provide employment. The committee therefore recommends to the House to adopt its report, which I request the Hazard Department to capture in full and pass the Value Added Tax Amendment Bill 2021 in accordance with the Constitution and our standing orders. It's important to indicate, Mr. Speaker, that for this, the committee had no amendments. Respectfully submitted.
Well. Yes, Honorable Atto.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it has become like a ritual. Almost all the time, every single tax policy that this side of the House has been speaking against, it goes and it comes back and they change their position. Mr. Speaker, why am I saying so? In the early 2017s, the Honorable Minister responsible for finance appeared before us and has said to us that there is the need for government to exempt retailers and wholesalers from the entire 17.5% and to give them a flat rate of 3%. Mr. Speaker, we on this side of the House argued that that policy will, in fact, bring about non-compliance of the VAT regime, to the extent that if you have a company that is a wholesaler and you are exempting them from paying the full VAT flat rate, not only that, but most importantly, you have decided to exempt them from the accounting of the VAT system. Mr. Speaker, for me, I believe that this is not the first time I've seen this administration coming back to reverse what we've criticized. We criticized the luxury vehicle tax. We told them that it will not stand the test of time. Yes, it did. They had to come back and remove it. So, Speaker, when they introduced the 40% income tax rate, we criticized it here. They did not listen to us. They went back, implemented it, and they came back to remove it. I'm not surprised that they've come back again to remove this very thing that we criticized some years ago, 5 years ago. So, Speaker, what surprises me is that they are saying that as a result of government changing the accounting system by allowing them to account for the full VAT rate, they are going to get more revenue. So, Speaker, this vindicates our position that that particular VAT that they allowed wholesalers to pay a VAT flat rate was rather detrimental to the revenue collection. So I'm surprised that they keep on saying that it is really going to be compliant and it's going to support compliance regime. The Speaker, is the opposite. I wish to say that in the same vein today, by close of day, we will criticize and oppose electronic transfer levy. And I hope they listen to us. Otherwise, they will go back and then it will fail and they will come back and remove it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, the motion has been moved. The motion has been seconded. The motion has been debated. The question is, as many as are in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those against the motion say no. Honorable members, the ayes have it.
An act to amend the Value Added Tax Act 2013, Act 870, to limit the application of the flat rate to a retailer for a turnover not exceeding 500,000 Ghana cedis per annum, and extend the value-added tax zero rate on African textile prints for textile manufacturers by a period of 2 years.
Honorable members, the Value-Added Tax Amendment Bill 2021 is read. Is read the second time. Yes.
Speaker, item 59, isn't it?
The procedural motion.
So what are we doing? 59? Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that notwithstanding the provisions of Standing Order 128.1, which require that when a bill has been read a second time, it shall pass through a consideration stage which shall not be taken until at least 48 hours have elapsed. The consideration stage of the Value-Added Tax Amendment Bill 2021 may be taken today. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
The Speaker, I second the motion.
Honourable members, the Value-Added Tax Amendment Bill at the consideration stage. The question is,
There are no amendments.
as many as are in favor, say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted. Honourable members, the Value-Added Amendment Bill 2021 at the consideration stage.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, as I earlier indicated, the committee had no amendments.
So, cross one.
Section 3 of Act 870 amended.
There's no amendment. So the question is, as many as are in favor, say aye. Those against, say no. The ayes have it. Cross one stands part of the bill. Yes, cross two.
Second schedule to Act 870 amended.
Honourable members, there's no amendment. So the question is, as many cross two stands part of the bill. Many as are in favor, say aye. Those against, say no. The ayes have it. Cross two stands part of the bill. Now, the long title, please.
An act to amend the Value-Added Tax Act 2013, Act 870, to limit the application of the flat rate to a retailer with a turnover not exceeding 500,000 Ghana cedis per annum, and extend the value-added tax zero rate on African textile prints for textile manufacturers by a period of 2 years.
Honourable members, as many as are in favor of the long title standing as part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say no. Now, members, the long title stands part of the bill. Yes, let's move to item number 61. The Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. The Speaker, I beg to move that item listed number 61, Mr. Speaker, the motion 61 be. I would like to move the motion, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, the chairman. Second.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
Very well. The question is, As many as are in favor of the procedural motion, say aye. Those against, say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. The motion is carried. Yes, Honourable Minister, let me invite you to motion number 62.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that the Value-Added Tax Amendment Bill 2021 be now read the third time. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, the chairman.
I second the motion.
Honourable members, the motion has been moved and the motion has been seconded. The question is, as many as are in favor of the motion, say aye. Those against the motion, say no. The ayes have it, honourable members.
An act to amend the Value Added Tax Act 2013, Act 870, to limit the application of the flat rate to a retailer with a turnover not exceeding 500,000 Ghana cedis per annum, and extend the Value Added Tax zero rate on African textile prints for textile manufacturers by a period of 2 years.
Honourable members, the Value Added Amendment Tax Bill 2021 duly read the third time and passed. Yes, Majority Leader, may I be guided?
Speaker, we must be dealing with item 63. Unfortunately, the reports are being printed in the printing room, and my information is that they require about 15 minutes to get them, to get them ready. So I don't know whether they may not suspend sitting for about 20 minutes. About 20 minutes. The Speaker, so we suspend sitting for about 20 minutes.
Honourable members, may you indulge me to suspend the House for 30 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, so let's reconvene at 7 o'clock. At 7 o'clock.
Honourable members, we are coming back at exactly 7 o'clock. The House is duly suspended for 30 minutes.